Hi everyone, Jen Kelly here, back in the Healthy Kitchen, and today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, juicing. Lots of people ask me about juicing, and especially what's better, juicing versus blending. This is a question I get a lot, and so I wanted to make a video to just talk specifically about juicing and clear up any misconceptions that might be out there with regarding making a juice from fresh produce. And so the first thing that I want to talk about is just the benefits of juicing versus blending, because the truth is one is not better than the other. They are both awesome. And so juicing is very unique in that what you're doing with a juicer is literally extracting the juice. And so with a juicer, like the one you see here, and I'll be talking about the different kind of juicers that are out there, when you see a juicer, you're going to see several compartments. For example, there's the bucket for the pulp. This is where all the discard goes, and that's where the fiber and the pulp is extracted when you get the juice, which is pressed out into a separate compartment. And so that's very unlike a blended drink or a smoothie, which maintains every component of the produce. You don't lose any of the fiber, you don't lose any of the pulp, you don't lose anything because it's all in one bucket. And so whether it's a high-speed blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, whether it's a NutriBullet or just a regular old Cuisinart blender, your smoothies are quite different than your juices. So the question that usually comes up is, well, how could a smoothie not be better if you have everything there? You're not losing anything. You actually have the fiber, which is super. And agreed, the fiber is super important, especially for digestive health and maintaining a clean colon and just keeping everything running smoothly inside. Fiber is huge. Fiber also helps to sort of slow down the digestion of your high sugar foods. Well, how could a juice be beneficial then, right? When I'm actually taking out the fiber and discarding it, and I'm now exposing the nutrients and the vitamins, minerals, everything that's in the juice, I'm exposing that with nothing to slow it down. Well, the benefit of that is that with nothing to slow it down, those nutrients are absorbed very quickly. And so they say within 15 minutes, your cells are receiving the nutrients and being renewed within that short amount of time. And that is pretty special. So that's really the reason why when you take a juice, you actually feel the energy. You feel that burst. They often call juices vitamin infusions. And it really is sort of like an intravenous vitamin injection. There's kind of no other way to get that direct nutrition with nothing to slow it down, nothing to slow down the digestion and the absorption. Those nutrients are going right to your cells. And so that is beneficial, especially if we might be going through some sort of healing crisis or some sort of digestive disorder where it's really hard to deal with fiber and to have that heavy produce and those fiber-rich foods coming in on a regular basis. So in that way, juice is sort of this side door for slipping in the nutrients, which is kind of amazing. If you're going through any sort of treatment where your good cells and bad cells might be being targeted, then you'll want that cellular rejuvenation and renewal in this way for sure, without having to worry about digestion and on not wasting, but using energy on digestion when the energy could be used toward healing. So there are benefits to both, and even if you're not going through a healing crisis, getting that cellular deep nutrition is amazing just for energy, for skin, hair, and nails, for digestion, for detoxifying. This sort of avenue for receiving nutrition is very unique, and I do think we want to take advantage of both juices and blended drinks like smoothies. When you have something in a Vitamix or a regular blender, you might not break it down so much so that it could be taken for a juice. However, in the NutriBullet, that will break down the very walls of the cells of the plants. And so you might think that you're drinking a juice, it might be that smooth. However, technically, it's a smoothie, technically. And so a juice is going to be only when that juice is pressed out or extracted. So there are two kinds of blenders, and the first one is the one that I have here is called a centrifuge juicer. And this blender actually has a spinning blade inside, and that's going to filter, a spinning filter with a blade. And that's going to, a spinning filter with a blade inside. And that's going to spin, and the pulp will go in to one compartment and the juice will be pressed out through the filter into the other compartment. With this spinning and blowing, it does create some heat and some air, and they're both pressed into the juice. That's not actually ideal. That's not the most beneficial way to take a juice. The most beneficial way to make a juice would be to use a masticating juicer, and these are somewhat larger, somewhat more expensive, and maybe a little more intricate in the parts. Take a little longer to clean maybe. And so this kind of juicer is actually great for beginners, but you do want to drink your juice right away because, as I said, the heat in the air is being blown down into your juice. And because these nutrients are being exposed now for the first time outside of the walls of the produce itself, the oxygen will be hitting it and start breaking it down pretty quickly. The heat in the air accelerate that oxidation process. And so with this type of juicer, I like to drink my juice right away. If you had a cold press masticating juicer, you don't have that heat and air. And so you just have literally like the juice being squeezed out. And so in that case, you do have a little longer to drink your juice because, as I say, the oxidation process is not being accelerated. So you have about 24 hours with a juice like that. So depending on where you are, this type of juicer is really easy to find. They're in, your Bed Bath & Beyond, Target, Macy's, and they're pretty inexpensive as far as these type of things go. About $100 will get you a very decent juicer. The cold press juicers are a little more advanced and you're a little bit more of an investment. You're looking at maybe $300 and up. So depending on where you are, you'll make your decisions accordingly. There's actually a great juicing guide on foodmatters.com. It's a great juicing guide, and they recommend the Huron juicer, or Huron Omega Champion. These are high-end and very well-known brands for if you're looking for that sort of juicer. Mine is a Breville Juice Fountain, and I've had great success with this, and as long as you don't mind drinking your juice right away, this will serve you as long as you want. So if you're not going to juice at home, it's just not an option, don't have the time, don't have the space, that's fine, because there are many juice bars and health food stores that will make a juice for you. And so hopefully then understanding what a juice is and the benefits of it might motivate you to seek one of those out, and you can request your favorite recipe and have them make it up for you right away, right in front of you, and drink it down and enjoy the benefits of juice that way. If that's not an option for you, there's a final option. There are two brands that there are more than two brands, but two brands that I recommend that offer cold pressure processed juices. And the one that I have here is Suja brand, and I recommend this one. It's organic and cold pressed and never heated. And it's really important when you're picking a processed food, when you're picking a pre-made food, that when we're talking about living energy and nutrients and especially enzymes, we want to make sure that that product has not been heated. And so there are many juices and smoothies out there that have been heated. And it sort of defeats the purpose, in my opinion. When we're looking for this sort of nutrition and this sort of energy, we don't want to heat it and kill the best things about it. So raw is best when it comes to juices and smoothies, so that we get the benefit of, most especially, the enzymes, which are killed at around 118 degrees. So we want to make sure we hold on to those. That's the point of this. But this For example, there's 4 pounds of vegetables in here. I mean, it doesn't look like 4 pounds of vegetables, but this is what happens when you juice. You squeeze out every last drop, and this is what you get. This is my favorite flavor of suja. It's called Glow. Very delicious. There's another brand out there called Blueprint, and they also have organic vegetables, cold pressure processed, and these, you'll notice they have an expiration date that is very close to the date you purchased it, probably, because as I said, you know, the longer they sit, the longer they break down. So you're getting a bottle here, and the suja people say that anytime you buy a bottle, it's no more than 30 days from the day it was made, which is as good as it can get for something that's pre-made like that and packaged, and all you have to do is grab it and go. So that's pretty cool, and I've seen those even in Target now, and actually the large bottle in Costco. So it's catching on for sure. Anyway, today we're going to make my basic juice recipe, and I hope that you would start with the principles of this, because I would hate to see you start juicing all excitedly and then make a juice that either doesn't give you a lot of juice or doesn't taste very good. And so this basic recipe is sort of my like base for all my juices, and then I can kind of add in and switch out flavors that I like, or seasonal vegetables, etc. So what I suggest you start out with is a base of vegetables that will give you a good amount of water, because so many vegetables you're going to see when they go in, they give you a little drop, not a lot of water. And so we want to create a good base with our water-rich, water-dense vegetables. And so I love to start with cucumber, romaine, and celery. If for some reason you don't like one of these vegetables, leave it out and you can replace it with something else. There are plenty of water-dense vegetables. Zucchini, I've replaced my cucumber with zucchini when I don't have cucumber in the house. Certainly any sort of leaf here would go great, but for our base, we kind of do want a lighter leaf. So your green leaf lettuce would be fine, red leaf lettuce would be fine, but we kind of do want a lighter leaf just for the base. And then celery does give us a lot of juice too. We can substitute that with parsnips or carrots or anything else. But I love this base because it's going to give me a good amount of juice. Okay, so let's just start with that. I'm going to turn the juicer on. It's a little loud. Right away, we have a very good amount of juice to start out with. This is about 16 ounces at least. 16 ounces just from that. And you're going to see now the rest of our vegetables don't give us that much juice, so we have that good solid green base to start out with. So after my base of water-rich greens, I like to then add in one dark leafy green, okay? And usually it'll be kale or spinach or collards, or my herbs. Don't forget my herbs are dark leafies as well, or leafy greens like cilantro and parsley. So today I'm going to be using collard greens, just beautiful collard leaves, and I'll just do, but depending on the size of the leaves, maybe 4 leaves, and put those in. You're going to see I don't get a lot of juice out of this, but I do get that dark chlorophyll. So let's put those down. Sort of just drip. We didn't really go much up in ounces, but the juice got a whole lot darker. So now we've got a lot of green. So we're going to make it taste sweet with 1 apple, and whatever kind of apple you like, doesn't matter. A lot of people like the green apples, whatever you like. So I'm going to use this one, which is kind of a little green and a little red. These came off of the trees in front of my sister's house, so I'm not sure exactly what kind of apples they are, but whatever kind you like. And then after that, we can add in our good flavors, but also are detoxifiers and immune builders. And so this is sort of my favorite trio. So that's our base with the apple. Get the apple in there. And now it's gonna taste great. Just the apple is all you need. It just totally levels out, balances out any bitterness from the greens, and makes it totally delicious. But I also like to add in ginger and lemon if I'm making my sort of daily juice. And these two are just awesome for immune system. Lemons are super high in vitamin C and great detoxifiers. And ginger, like anything white, is great for immune system building. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit of ginger here, and you don't want to put too much ginger because ginger is really powerful flavor. So I'm just going to sort of slice off the rind here. So I'm left with maybe about, a thumbnail size of ginger. Not much. Ginger, you don't need much, and a little goes a very long way. And then I'm going to have half a lemon as well. So get those down. And then one other favorite for my morning juice is beet. And I'm only going to use half a beet, especially because this one is big. But I would recommend for any beginners to go really slow with your beets. Beets are really detoxifying, and they will get in there and clean you out, and you might not be ready for it. So you want to go slowly with beets, okay? If you make a beet juice and you feel a little like, ooh, I'm feeling this one, right? Maybe a little like fluey or a little lightheaded for a minute. The beets are getting in there, and they're cleaning out the toxins. So start slow. You might want to do like a sliver and work your way up. Half a beet is certainly great. A whole beet, if you can handle it, you might want to work your way up there. But when I have a really big beet, I usually just go with half. And then I'm going to stick in some carrots because it's carrot time of year, and I also like to balance out my very uplifting greens with something rooted like ginger, beets, and also my carrots. I have these beautiful tricolor carrots, so I'm going to add those in too. So you'll see the beets really change the color here. We had totally green, and now we have got this great splash of red in here. I'm just going to show you the color before I pour it out. So beautiful. There's my juice, and I'm going to pour it here into a mason jar. And if I weren't going to be drinking this immediately, which I am, then I would fill it all the way to the top and then put the lid on so that there's very little air up top. And if I wanted to have this maybe in an hour or so, or lunchtime or something like that, then I would have my juice. But let's see how it goes. Delish. Delish. And not too much beet, not too much ginger. I want to be careful with the ginger because the ginger can really take it over. If you find that in the beginning you want your juices sweeter, you can add 2 apples or maybe pear. Pineapple's really sweet. So you can mix and match. This is just the base. And especially because this is a great sort of just like everyday juice, you can start with this and see if you like it. And if you don't, then start switching out keep their base and start switching out with the fruits and vegetables that you do like. In general, the rule of thumb for juices is kind of the same as smoothies. This is about being a vehicle for greens, being a vehicle for vegetables. So while I can very easily make an awesome pineapple orange juice or apple juice, and that's great, those sort of have their place. When I'm talking about juicing or making green smoothies, it's about being a vehicle for greens, okay? So in general, my juices have probably 1 fruit in them because it's just to balance out that bitterness or balance out the vegetable flavor and give you a little bit of sweetness, but enough to overpower the whole drink. so you really get the benefits of all your produce. And that's the thing, is getting that in early in the morning, middle of the day, unexpectedly. Your body is so psyched to get that nutrition, and you will notice the difference. So hopefully you'll be motivated to try a juice or go to your local juice bar, or maybe investigate just taking one of these to go one day and start getting the benefits of inside out cellular nutrition from juicing. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I will catch you next time in the Healthy Kitchen. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.